Well, hello there, neighbor. You came back. Well, look at you. That means you wanted to stick around and hear another story or two. Now, I am trying to diversify the things that we talk about. And so we did a gospel music set. We're probably going to do another one. I know we're going to do one more. You're going to love it. I'm going to put you to shame, you folks that go to the church and fold your arms, and you're not going to be moved. And shouting going on. Well, anyways, you just get ready. That one's coming. Today, we're going to go off on a little bit different direction. And I'm going to talk to you about a subject that is really, really close to me. We're going to talk about learning. It's going to be on an education type thing that I hope some of you parents can share with your kids. When I think about one, there are two things. Let's do it like this. There's two things that I would have done differently in my life. The most important thing is I would have got saved about 10 years before I did. And the other thing is I would have crammed a lot more knowledge in my head than I did. And I guess there's some sub-issues here. When I was growing up, you could count on something. It was going to happen. If you brought home to my daddy anything less than a C on your report card, mark it down. Brother Leather would be having service at your house pretty quick. And I guarantee you, the next report card you got, that D would become a high C or a low B. And with the encouragement you got on that, it would keep going up. And what do I call y'all? In this generation, you thumb boogie organization. This generation just, we baby our kids. And I'm going to show you something. My first year in the 10th grade, there were 3. My first year in the 10th grade. Keep in mind, I'm coming off of this background where you're going to get that spanking. Your grades are going to come up, and they did. Ask anybody that grew up in my generation if they regret one of those spankings based on who they got to be. You're not going to find anybody. My first year in the 10th grade, my daddy looked at my first report card. I don't know whether the conduct grades and the grades got switched around or whether he just saw them with different eyes. I don't know. But for whatever reason, he saw my conduct grades as my subject grades and my subject grades as my conduct grades. So now he thinks he's gone from a well-behaved kid that's just too lazy to study to a kid that finally gets it, but he's got a bad attitude. He didn't know what to do with it. But he finally said, I ought to spank your butt for these bad conduct grades. And if they don't come up, I will, but I'm so happy about these A's and B's here till I'm going to let you slide this one time. Can you imagine how hard it was for me not to smile out loud? If I'd done that, he'd have figured it out. But I said, yes, sir, they will come up. And I was dismissed. I went out in the woods and I had myself a party. I got away with it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew one thing, I needed to keep doing it. And it was after the first semester was over before Daddy came to a realization of what was going on. By then, might as well say my 10th grade year was shot. I was going to flunk. Well, I was old enough to go to work in the cotton mill at that time, and we were allowed to work 26 hours a week, I think it was. Now, my daddy and my mama had two different minds. Mama said he'll stay till he's 40. He's going to graduate. And Daddy let that go the first year and the second year and the third year. At the end of that third year, I got moved up to the first shift in the cotton mill, able to work a 40-hour week. Get me now. I'm going to work 40 hours a week. I'm going to have a full paycheck. I can do a lot of stuff with that money. And we had gotten a raise. You believe we was making about $5 an hour by then? Man, well, I was in heaven. And I decided, whatever it takes. This is after the first year now. My mind was made up. I ain't going to graduate. I'm coming out of that. And when I look back on it now, I can only see the debates and discussions Mother and Daddy used to have. He's going to stay till he's 40. Well, he's not trying. And after that third year, Daddy said, just let him go in the cotton mill and bust his rear end in there. He'll go back. And so I was allowed to quit school after my third year in the 10th grade. And I went to work in that cotton mill. And Daddy was right. After a couple of years of that, I decided school might not be such a bad place after all. I remember I used my sister as my intermediary. I sent out a message to the principal asking if I could come back. And he said, well, if he's serious, if he'll get his grades, if he'll do right, yes, he can come back. And I said, the problem here is that by now, I was pushing 19 years old, almost 20 years old. And he let me go back anyways. So here I go back to school. Cotton mill was kind enough to let me work part-time. So I could do that. And I finished high school at the tender age of 22. You can't do that no more. Nowadays, they ship you off to trade school after you, when you turn 19. They said, look, you had your time. There's other kids coming up. They got to have their chance. Have a good life. We hope you do well, but we can't do anything else for you. That's the speech you're going to get in this day and time once you get to be 19 years old. I want you to hear what I'm fixing to say now. I am 67 years old. If I could change something, I would have spent 3 years in the 10th grade. I'm not going to tell you I've had an atrocious life. I learned work ethic from my father, and I have worked. And I have worked, and I have worked. Not ashamed of the work I did. I worked in cotton mills. I worked making exercise equipment for a company called Diversified Products for a while. I did sheet metal work at a wonderful place called Madix for 21 years. I worked. But I did not ever reach my full potential. This little book of mine, I hope you'll get one just to prove this point. I want you to read this book. I want you to notice as you get further over into the back of it, what you're going to find out is it looks like a first grader wrote the book. There's so many spelling errors in it. Now, the stories in this book, everybody loved the stories. They love to hear me talk about the small town I grew up in and the people that we loved and shared life with. This book actually spent several weeks on the Inspiring Voices bestsellers list. It got as high as number 7. But me, I was working all the time. I didn't have time to promote it. I didn't have time to do the sequel that I'm going to start working on now because of this project. All the really good stuff that I will be able to do on this line at this stage of my life, I should have done 40 years ago. Young person, hear me. Hear me well. I've been there. I'm telling you. You are not going to be able to reach your full potential in life without some form of education. You can pick anything you want to be, and you can be that, but you're not going to be that just because you want to be that. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have days where you'd rather not even get out of the bed, but you'll get out anyhow because you have a dream. You're going towards a dream. You have somewhere you're trying to get to, and you can't get there without work, without effort. You can't get there without taking advantage of every opportunity that's put in your path to make you better and to get you to that place you're trying to go quicker. Oh, what I could have done. I should have had 4 books written already. Sleeping in English class does not get you to your destination. And by the way, just because you're not going to do anything in life that has English in it, I don't know why you wouldn't, but even if that were the case, you still got to pass that class to get to the next level where you may have something you really need, right? Don't hear this old man now and diss me off. You watch this video again in 10 years, you'll see just how right I really was. Have a dream. Have a plan to reach that dream. Not A, F, C, G, A, B, C, D. B may not be very exciting, but it's something you got to get through to get to C. Do it. Get to C. Go to D. Get to the finish line. All of us, whether you like it or not, all of us have a starting line. We all start. Very few finish. Now, that's a good little Sunday school lesson too, right? You come to know Christ as your Savior, you begin a new journey. It's a start. Then you got to run the race. How are you going to run that race? Educationally or spiritually? How are you running your race? With effort? Shortcuts? Are you prone to shortcuts? Come on now. Are you prone to shortcuts? You take shortcuts and you may get where you want to go, but somebody will leapfrog you that did not take shortcuts, but they did the hard work and they got there. Young man, young lady, you can do it. Jerry Clower said this in a concert I went to one time. He spoke with the Junior Achievement group in our valley, 3 times, I guess. Jerry was raised by a single mom. He used to tell people, I was raised dirt poor. We lived in a shotgun house, had dirt floors, and we were sharecroppers. And by today's standards, if somebody come along and told me how poor I was and how underprivileged I was, I might not ever have graduated Mississippi State University with a degree in agriculture. So hear me. Jerry said it this way. He said, this is the United States of America. And if you want it bad enough, and you got some of what Brother Jerry called that bulldog hang on foreverness, say that 3 times fast. In this country, if you've got those qualities, you can be a winner. It's not anybody's fault that you don't reach your destination but you. You can get there if you want it bad enough. I want it for you. I hope someday you'll write me letters and tell me, Brother Hugh, I heard what you said, and I found some hope in it, and I ran forward, and I reached my destination. I did not quit. I did not let adversity sit me down, but I climbed up over it, and I got to my dream. But I'm going to tell you a little something. You did a whole lot better if Jesus is your pilot. Let him pilot that lifeboat for you. Let him charge that dream. He'll get you there. He's going to require you to work, but he'll get you there. You can make it. You can do it. I believe in you, but you have to believe in yourself. That's all I got for today. I hope you parents will get a little something out of that. Show it to the youngins. Let me know if it causes a conversation we can use to push that dream a little bit harder. We'll see you next time. God bless your hearts. Bye-bye.